on here. All right, there's that. And let's get started. So, oh, I got people in the waiting room here. Let's turn that. Admit all. Bum, 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 bum. Right, and now since we're all in here, we can turn off the waiting room. And we are golden. All right. Well, we are going to get started. Welcome everybody to our final popcorn training of the popcorn season. We've had two really good popcorn kickoffs, kickoff dinners, if you will, training sessions, where we rolled out this plan for our popcorn sale for 2024. And it's been good so far. It's been good so far. I appreciate you guys jumping on the virtual option here. Britta Phillips is joining us. She is one of our council popcorn committee members. There's 5 popcorn kernels across the council's territory that are a part of our council's popcorn team. And she's going to take some of the slides tonight from a training perspective. So you're going to get she and I tonight walking through our plan for our popcorn sale. If you do have any questions, please just drop them into the chat function, and we'll answer those accordingly. Okay. And that way we don't have to keep taking people on and off of mute while we're in the middle of the presentation. So we're going to dive right into our popcorn training. Again, welcome, and let's kick it off here. So as we move into the popcorn slides here, I want to recognize the fact that we have a bunch of units that sell over $10,000. Those would be what we call top sellers, right? Those that are selling at an extremely high level, $10,000 and above. And those individuals make up over 70% of our popcorn sale. So when you think about, a sale that generates close to $600,000 in gross sales, 70% of that comes from the units that you see on the screen here. Interestingly enough, though, these units are represented by a variety of sized communities. You have some larger communities, you have some smaller communities. You have some Cub Scout packs, you have some Scout troops. So there really is no ideal community or ideal unit. It is more of what are we doing with the assets that we have, with the leaders that we have, with the scouts that we have, and how much of an impact can we make financially on our popcorn sale. So those are our top sellers. Then we have what we call our high potential units, and that's really everybody else. Everybody else has the potential to do more. It's just a matter of finding ways to position your sale to do more. Hopefully at the end of tonight's training, you're going to take some tools or some tips or some tricks or some different components of this that maybe you haven't included in your sale before, and implement those into your sales so that you can get the most bang for your buck. Speaking, right? Taking your sale from, if I'm picking on pack 3375 here, they're at $2,400 in traditional sales, $166 in online sales, for a total of $2,500. But what could they take away from today's training that might take them up to $5,000? Or what could they take away from today's training that would get them up to $7,500, right? So that's what our hope is that you'll come out of today's training with something in your toolkit to be able to help you move forward. Okay, so Britta, I know you are there. I'm going to let you take away your slides from here.
Okay. Here's the slide. Prepare. So much of the popcorn sale, the Scout motto, be prepared, that all follows right into the popcorn sale. The better you can prepare, the better your sale is going to be. So I'm not sure what else I need to say about this. So Brian, feel free to add anything as
Yeah,
we
no,
go through this.
you're good. I'll jump in if needed.
Okay. This slide here, powered by popcorn, it truly is, you can fund your entire program year by popcorn. Your scouts learn so much from participating in the popcorn sale. There's lots of things that they can learn. As you can see on the slide here, they learn great public speaking. They learn the power of, receiving a no and how to take that in a positive way. Scouts earn their own way. So many of my scouts through the years have been able to do things that they wouldn't have otherwise been able to do because of their ability to sell popcorn. The knocking on your neighbor's door, and that's a huge skill to be able to do that. And all these things, these scouts are learning by selling some popcorn. Besides that, from a unit perspective, like I said, it does fund, or it can potentially fund your entire year. It should. And on top of that, the scouts, they earn Amazon gift cards and they get to pick out their own prizes and all the other things along the way. So going to the idea of the popcorn program funding your entire year, a lot of that is planning and being prepared. And so you're going to plan your year, make the budget, provide a calendar to the families, and have a goal. That's really important to be able to stand in front of your parents and say, if your scout sells $500 in popcorn, that is enough for their entire year of scouting. It covers their patches or their belt loops. It allows the unit to not have to charge you for a blue and gold ceremony or, that camping event that we do, and make sure that, you explain all of that to the parents when you're going through and you've figured out your goal. But if you can stand up in front of your parents and say, the goal is, maybe the goal isn't 500, maybe you've got big plans, or your scouts like to do things that are more expensive or more costly. And so the goal might be $900. I mean, my troops goal last year was 900 and something, and that funded their entire year. And from that point on, $900 in popcorn covered their yearly dues. It covered all their troop dues. The only things that we really ask in addition from the parents are going to be, whatever the activity fees are. So if it's summer camp or a camporee, they have to pay for those things. But when it comes to food and, food for a camp out and things like that, we don't ask for additional funds for that. That's all included in our budget. So unless we do something, not planned, or decide to rent a 15-passenger van so that we don't have to take 5 cars somewhere, that might be an added expense. But otherwise, I feel 100% confident when I stand up in front of all my parents and say, if you sell $900, I'm not going to come to you and ask you to sell anything else. I'm not going to come and ask you and tell you that you have to come up with more money. And it's usually pretty, perceived fairly well, and you get the buy-in. So. This just is a slide. It goes into a little bit more detail. There's that program planner on the right that you can get out of the training section in the unit portal of Trails End. We used to regularly do this and have to turn it in so that as part of a commission structure many, many years ago. And that honestly was very helpful in the beginning of my time at the Cub Scout pack, especially to make sure that all of our costs were covered and to get a realistic goal for each scout. So some of the things on the left are the things that you might want to include, you know, depending what your unit wants to include in that program so that you can tell those parents, you know, that it's going to include everything. So, I mean, at the Cub Scout level, we definitely did include, you know, a new neckerchief, a new slide, a new book. Like we made sure that those things were all included so that they knew they would have funds for those things. So here, just continuing on with the whole budget idea and figuring out what you need to have your program, your scouting year 100% funded by popcorn. We are here to help you with that. If you as a unit need help, you can reach out to any of us. We've all been there. We do it on a regular basis and we're happy to help. Or if you know, maybe you don't have, you know, or maybe let me put it this way. If you've got maybe a scout that wants to do something different, maybe they want to go to National Jamboree and so they need a specialized goal so that they can make sure they can cover, you know, National Jamboree or a high adventure and they, we always planned as far as, you know, from my family's perspective was we always planned our popcorn sale to make sure that it covered our year of scouting plus some more so that when it came time to my son wanting to do a high adventure, I didn't have to come up with a large chunk of money. I had money already that I'd been saving from popcorn through the years to be able to pay for those expenses and not have to worry about those things. So maybe, you know, if you've got a scout that's in a special, you know, situation and, you know, we're happy to help as well to get those budgets set so that popcorn can provide that for you. So there is a new link to the Trails End Leader portal. So you do want to follow that link. It's a portal instead of just trailsend.com. So if you want to do that, or you can just, if you still are going to the trailsend.com, you can go on that and then scroll down to the bottom of there. And there's that link at the bottom. It's hard to read there, but there's a leaders and scouts link down there at the bottom that you can use as well. So if you're familiar with the previous one, you'll just want to make sure to bookmark the new one. So everything that you're going to need to do for your popcorn sale is going to be available for you through the leader portal. You'll be able to do everything from order your popcorn, invite scouts to register. You can manage that roster. So if you have scouts that have maybe moved onto a troop or maybe they've transferred from one unit to another, you can manage that your roster there as well in the portal. Goals are easy to set, and the scouts are able to do that as well, or parents. You do get real-time reporting of sales, inventory, cash management, all of that is there. It's a wonderful tool to have, especially having it available on your phone when you're on the go, moving from maybe you've got a couple of storefronts or you've got some units out, walk-in neighborhoods, things like that. It's nice to have that when you're on the go. You can also do the unit to unit product transfers. That's a great thing. Moons ago, we used to have all this paper transfer and we'd have to wait for it to get to Emily or someone in the scout in the office in Kokomo to enter it and get those transferred. And now we can just put them in right through that portal, and then the receiving unit can go in and accept them. So it takes counsel out of that, and it makes doing those unit to unit transfers really easy. And keeps, at the same time, it also keeps your inventory up to date because you're able to do those in real time and not wait for somebody else to enter them. The last thing on here is being able to create, schedule, and manage your storefront sites and shifts. So a lot of our storefronts are set up by Trails End. However, a lot of the maybe smaller communities, or maybe there's smaller locations that you have contacted that your scouts are able to sell there, you can then set up those and schedule them on your own. You don't need Trails End to do that. You can also, if you're using one of the Trails End scheduled storefronts, you can also make changes and adjust that as well. So if you need to, once you've claimed that, you can manage and make any changes to that as well. So Trails End, like I said, Trails End has been booking some of our storefronts for us for quite a few years now. So they typically will book those premium hotspot locations, your Sam's, your Walmarts, your Lowe's, some gas stations, Walgreens, CVS's, and some other places that are, maybe local to different communities that are hot spots, so to say. Yeah, I'm reading this. Other ones, I don't have anything really to add to the storefronts as far as how that works there. Storefront claiming, so that's going to start July 20th. And units that sold 20,000 or more will get to pick 4 reservation blocks. And those reservation blocks are split into 6-hour shifts approximately. So there's usually a morning shift and then an afternoon or evening shift. So sometimes if that day may only include 8 hours, that reservation block may only be for 4, but they are typically around the 6-hour mark. So then on the 21st, 15,000 and up units will be able to pick 3 reservation blocks, and they are cumulative. So those units that got to pick 4 on the 20th will also get to pick 3 additional on the 21st. And then on the 22nd, 10,000 and up will get to pick 2. And then on the 23rd, all units will be able to go in and claim any remaining storefronts, and there's not a limit on those. And this is something that is set by Trails End. It's not determined by us at a council level. So Trails End does this across the board with all of their councils that use the Trails End program. So, and on the screen there, you'll see where each of those, the packs and troops are listed. So those are the troops and packs that will get to pick on those 20th, 21st, and 22nd days. So Brian kind of touched on this earlier with those units selling 10,000 or more. That 32% of the units make up 71% of the sale. You can see the top 7 units make up 43% of the sale. And then with the what's that? Sorry, why can I not? Then the 10,000 or less make up the remaining 29% of the sale. So, units that have over $10,000 in sales do make a huge impact across the council for our council goal, but then, you know, that's also a huge impact to your unit. That commission on $10,000 can go a long way in your scouting year. So, right now, these are some of the confirmed storefronts for this year, and the city and the number of hours that are booked. So you can see there are most of the big stores, the hot spots in a lot of our towns. So if you don't see there, do we have another slide on the other list? Let's see. Yeah, so then we have the working on. So these are all Walmart, some Kroger. These stores are in the process for Trails End. So I know last year Walmart kind of changed the way that they structured their storefront ability for us to be able to claim and scheduling that we can be out there during our sale. So that's why these are kind of still in the works until we get all of those finalized with Walmart. And then Kroger's Kroger. These other ones that we're still working on as well. So these are going to be some of the smaller stores. We've added some restaurants this year that we can potentially partner with. So hopefully those will all continue to go through. And then there's a list on the right that's even smaller. Those are the list of places that have denied us. So don't reach out to those. They've already been asked and denied as far as that goes.
Bert, I think the only thing I would add here is that what you saw in these last 3 slides, that is a snapshot in time. And that snapshot in time was from about 2 weeks ago. Trails End will end up giving us a final list once they are done doing work on our behalf. We will then share that list that says, hey, it's going to look very similar to this, but it's going to say, hey, these are the ones that told us no. These are the ones that were non-responsive. And these are the ones that told us yes. And all the ones that are yeses are going to get loaded into the leader portal for you guys to select during those July selection dates. The rest of them that were denied, obviously we don't want to go back to those guys. And for those individuals that were non-responsive or they didn't get confirmed, you guys have the latitude at that point to go out and try to secure them on your own behalf. And obviously anything that is not showing up on these 3 lists, let's say you've got just this awesome gas station in Flora, Indiana, and you want to go set up a storefront at the gas station in Flora, Indiana. I know Jessica's shaking her head. There's not an awesome gas station in Flora, Indiana. I was just throwing that out there. But if there were an awesome gas station in Flora, there would be an opportunity for her to go out and set up that storefront there and put that into the leader portal for her unit, even though it's not something that Trails End did on our behalf. So, moving on.
So this is our storefront summary from 2023. So we had about 6,500 hours booked, and about 59% of those were claimed by units. And we had 4,800 hours roughly of scouts working those storefronts. And then the retail sold there is 329,000, just about 330, with that being an average of $122 per hour. So our goal this year is to have about 5,000 hours booked, and we're sitting at 3,200. And you'll see on the right-hand side the locations and the amount of retail that were sold at those locations. This is kind of what the storefronts will look like once you're in the portal. So you'll see the storefront, and you'll see where you can click reserve. You'll see the start time, the end time, and it gives you the location. So if you're in a town that maybe has multiple Walmarts, multiple Krogers, or things like that, you'll want to make sure that you claim the right location and then send your scouts and parents to the right location.
If you,
Not sure the
oh, sorry.
flame. What's the flame?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so the Flame is a new addition to the portal. That is based on statistical data that Trails End has in the system. If you see a storefront out there that has a flame next to it, that is one of those high performing storefronts. And if you see one out there and it's in your neck of the woods, claim that and put scouts there, because you stand a pretty good chance to have a decent sale during that time frame that you want to be there, based on statistical data that runs through the Trails End app that says, this particular Lowe's or this particular Kroger or whatever is a high performing store. So if you see those out there, claim those as quick as you can, because those are the higher performing or on fire stores, if you will.
Britta and/or Brian, can I ask a question?
Yes.
If we have any new units that are selling popcorn and aren't familiar with this system, what is your recommendation for them where to go specifically to get more specifics on how to utilize some of these processes? Or is that something that will be later discussed?
You're like 2 slides early.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, this slide here with the storefront settings and reservations, you do have the ability to set your default settings. So before reserving any of your storefront reservations, you'll want to make sure to go in and set your split method. Here it does talk about the one scout and a parent is the best split. That gets scouts credited for every sale that they make. They don't have to share those sales and split them with any other scouts. Trails End shows that scouts sell $244 more than if there were other splits, and that units get about $50 more per hour per scout by doing this split method of just one scout, one parent, and that's with a best practice of a 2-hour shift. So one thing I will add on here is that if you are new, definitely start out here with one scout, one parent. If you've done a popcorn sale before, you may find that this is the best method. You may not find that this is the best method to optimize, sales for your unit. For me, it depends upon whether I'm dealing with my Cub Scout pack or my troop. And that also depends on what location I'm at. So I have had, and at the end of the day, us as leaders, we know our scouts. So you may find that if you've got a shy scout or, at the cub level, maybe putting a tiger out there or a new scout isn't going to maybe be the best method. Maybe we do want 2 scouts out there. Yes, it does decrease in the scout that's not as outgoing or maybe is a little more, reserved and shy, that they're not going to be doing as much work as the other scout. But I always like to remind my scouts, especially like at my troop, we don't do a 1 scout, 1 parent method. We end up doing 2 scouts because that really we found has maximized our sales at certain locations. Other locations, we do only do 1 scout. But I always remind my scouts that, we're here as a team. We have a unit goal. And at the end of the day, if our unit makes our goal, that helps everybody. Because even if somebody doesn't sell as much or what they truly need, if somebody else has made up for it, that helps that unit goal. It may not help the individual scout, cover extra cost or help that scout pay for camp. But it does help the unit so that we don't have to ask anybody for extra funds. So we work together as a team, and that has really benefited our unit, but that doesn't work for every unit. So if if there are units out there that haven't sold popcorn before and they have hesitations, I know between myself and Sarah and Amanda and others, Matt, and I'm missing a name, Ashley. Is that right, Ashley? I don't know. But all of
Yes,
us
sorry, I was
will,
muted. Yes.
yeah, okay. All of us will happily help you. We've been doing this for some of us for longer than others, but we have years under our belts that we are happy to kind of work through those with units so that we can help you make the best decision for you guys and, get you guys so that your scouting year is funded. So this will be, Sherry, where on the portal page, there's a training page. So Trails End does a really good job of having webinars throughout the summer, and they're recorded. You can go in and watch the videos. So they have training videos. They have a ton of tools as far as, printouts you can print, things if you want to, like there's the table payment sign. There's a little, they call it here a scout pitch, but like a little script you can print off and pass out to all of your scouts. So, especially like at the cub level, I like to do that and then have them stand and get a partner and they go back and forth and they practice their little sales pitch and what to say so that they're a little bit more comfortable going, whether it be at a storefront or if they're, knocking on a door in their neighborhood, things like that. So there's lots of valuable information here in the leader portal on that training page. It does also talk about all the new features for any returning leaders that go, oh, I've been doing this, I don't need to look at it, but take a look out there. They'll show you all the new things so that you're, best prepared for the popcorn selling season.
And I would just add, Britta, that the leader portal is, I don't know, 6 or 7 tabs on the left-hand side. It's very intuitive. It's one of those things that if you get in there and just click around, you're going to be able to navigate that space pretty quickly. there's some best methods and things like that that the leader would be able to pick up from the trainings from the portal. But it's pretty intuitive for any leader, whether new or seasoned, to jump in there and navigate.
So here's the app. So the app is then for your scouts, and you can see sales. Your scouts will see their sales, and they'll be able to see their shifts that they signed up for. They can sign up for shifts on the app. They can track and manage their own inventory. So, which is great if you do, wagon sales and check out product to your scouts. You can put that unit from the leader portal. You can put your inventory and transfer it to a scout. They'll be able to see it, so at any time they can come back from a wagon sale and look to see that they've entered all their sales correctly, because I'm supposed to have 2 unbelievable and 1 white cheddar left, and I have 2 unbelievable and 1 white cheddar. And if they find something is missing or in error, maybe they logged a sale wrong, that just helps figure those things out sooner, rather than at the end of the sale and them not knowing for sure what they owe you. They can make sure that what's in the app is accurate, and everything is accurate as far as that goes. And if something needs corrected, then you can help them, or they can, they can typically end up fixing everything themselves. But if not, we can help with that, or you can help with that. The credit card processing is free. It's powered by Square, and those fees are paid by Trails End. So I know a lot of times, not so much now, but I recall, back a couple years ago or so, people were really hesitant, and you still find people hesitant to give their credit card to you and put it in your phone, but they are, you can always put them at ease that it's powered by Square. You can use a Square reader if you already have one. If you, have one, just a personal one. Some units do have them already, and they share them amongst themselves. A few years ago, we went out and invested and just bought some ourselves for our unit, so that we had a couple of Bluetooth Square readers. So that's also, an option as well. If you don't have them, you definitely get your money back on them. But all of those are usable because it is powered by Square. They will connect to the Trails End app, which does make that nice and convenient. It's not any special software. And you don't have to manually add it if you do have a reader. So the app is available in both the Apple and the Google Play stores. So any returning scout is going to use their existing sign-in from previous years. And then new scouts are going to enter the unit's Trails End code or zip code, and they can find their unit that way. If you do have a family that has multiple scouts, they can use one email, and they'll be able to switch between, if you can see where it says Ethan there at the top, you'll just click that drop down, and your second child or third child, however many scouts you have, will all show up there, and you can switch and toggle back and forth between your scouts. So the scout rewards here, so scouts accumulate points, and they get to earn Amazon gift cards. And so how that works is for every dollar sold, if it's a cash sale, they get 1 point per dollar. If it is a credit card or debit card or an online sale, they get 1.25 points per dollar sold. And then new this year, So the part that's not new is the parent pay now. So that's a really cool feature in the app that parents are able to hit the pay now button, and any cash that they've collected, they can just deposit that cash in their own checking account, or not deposit it and then just put it on their own debit or credit card and pay, instead of having to transfer and take that cash into the unit, and the unit have to then deposit it into the bank. This is one of my favorite features, because so many times I would hear parents go, "Oh, I left that cash at home in the envelope," or things like that, and they sometimes getting that cash collected would be a hassle from a unit leader perspective. And this way, it's not a big deal. You just click pay now and you use your debit or credit card and pay that. This year, what's new is that now if you do that for your scout, you're going to turn 1 point into 1.25 points. So before there was, that was a cash sale, so you just got 1 point per dollar. And now if you do, as a parent, decide to pay that way, your scout does get the extra 1/4 of a point for every dollar sold. Just as if they had done a credit or debit card sale at a storefront, or any other sale. So that will, I know in the past I've had some parents that want to make sure that their kids get the most points possible, and so they would try to um they would be collecting all the cash, and then they'd log all the sales later and use their card, and sometimes that caused some inventory issues. So having Trails End accommodate for that, and just turning in that pay now button into the extra 1/4 of a point per dollar is a great new added feature this year. So you'll see on the right hand side, that's the points, and then on the far right hand side is the gift card in Amazon, an Amazon gift card that your scout would earn. So it does start at 500 points, and they would get a $10 Amazon gift card, and it goes all the way up. There are a couple of bonuses on the left hand side, where if you sell $500 an hour per scout for any 2-hour storefront shift or longer from July to December 15th, you'll earn an extra 1/2 of a bonus point per dollar sold. For the scout to qualify, it has to be a 1 scout per shift split method. So if you have 2 scouts signed up per shift, you would not be eligible for that bonus. And then the second bonus is if you sell $250 or more online from July 1st to August 31st, the scout will earn an extra 100 bonus points. So here, sell, sold, selling. We're selling popcorn, and our scouts are getting an experience. They're getting an adventure. So, I feel like selling popcorn that's what we do. We sell the adventure of scouts, and people buy popcorn to support scouts and to support our children's adventures through scouting. So that's what I got. We've talked about most of these throughout the slides already, but different ways to sell are the storefronts, and then online, and then wagon sales. So in your app, you will have those 3 options as far as sales go. So your storefronts are going to be at just that, storefronts, where you have high foot traffic. That's going to allow you to log sale after sale after sale, and it's going to give you inventory reports, sales reports for that storefront, versus a wagon sale that you can still do sale after sale after sale. But there's not any reporting from the leader perspective. So you do want to, if you do have a location that kids are going to sell at, to set up that storefront so that you can kind of track that overall sales as you go. And then the online one is easy. You sell anywhere in the US. Trails End ships, you share your page, social media, email, text. So no more, still a great way if you need to visit family and offer to bring it to them when you visit them. But this way, Trails End will ship it directly to them and they handle all of that, which is nice. The only thing to really add on the wagon there, it does talk about the best practice being bringing product with you so that you don't have to have that second trip to deliver. As a parent, that's a bonus. That's a selling point. Your scout probably will be thankful that they don't have to go back around the neighborhood and pass out popcorn. But the other thing that really happens when you bring the product with you is that people are more apt to make that purchase. If they know that it's right there, it's harder for them to say no, as well as any skepticism that they may have about whether or not your scout is really a scout, or if you're really going to bring back the popcorn in a month, like maybe they've been burned in the past and they've bought candy or something from a school fundraiser from a neighborhood kid, and that kid never brought it to them. So now they don't really like to buy anything from somebody who's come to the door. But if you have it right with you, they're more likely to say yes and not say no to your scout, and they're going to take it right then and there. And then, like I said, you don't have to go back. So it's a win-win for everybody. So here's that scout sales pitch. The biggest takeaway that I will share here is that you are not selling popcorn. You're not asking somebody to buy popcorn. You're asking somebody to, or your scouts are asking somebody to support them in their scouting adventures, in their, call it a scouting career, an adventure, all of those things, whether it's that your scout wants to go to summer camp, can I count on your support? Some people do buy popcorn because it is truly great popcorn. But most of the people that are going to purchase from you outside of Walmart or even door to door, they are there to support scouts. They're there to support your scout. And so the more we can get our kids to say, would you like to support scouts? Would you like to support me in scouting? The more yeses that they're going to get, instead of, do you want to buy some popcorn? Because nobody wants to buy $20 or $25 popcorn, but they will donate to support your scout and get some popcorn. So, and then having your scout pick a favorite flavor is always great. Lots of times it's countless times people have asked my son, what's your favorite flavor? What do you recommend? What do you like? Because they want to know, they want to interact with your scouts. Then a lot of times we've had, people purchase that and then give it to my scout because they don't really want the popcorn, but what's your favorite flavor? And I'll buy it for you and you can take it home. So that's always, a nice added surprise. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen once in a while. And then always remind your, scouts that if somebody does say no, just to say thank you and wish them a good day and, have them be on their way and just always be pleasant because kindness kills. And the number of times that people have walked away from us at Walmart and been maybe a little nastier than they should have been to a 7 or 9-year-old or even a 14-year-old. The moment that the scout says, thank you, have a nice day, it catches their eye, they turn around and they feel slightly bad about being maybe not so nice in their no or ignoring your scout as they walked away. So it just, it's a good thing to teach our scouts. And, like I said earlier, is taking a no in a positive way. Storefront best practices. So from a leader perspective is to make sure that you're prepared, or that your families are prepared with everything that they need. Every unit does this a little differently. As a popcorn kernel, you have to decide what's best for your unit. I personally deliver or have other parents from my unit that assist with our popcorn sale deliver table, banner, cash box, popcorn, so that the only thing that the parents and scouts of my units have to do is show up at their scheduled time with their charged phone and with their scout in a uniform. They don't have to worry about coming to my house or dropping things off and things like that. But I do have a series of people that will help pick up and drop off. Other units do it completely different, and everybody is responsible, and you have your own popcorn supply. And so you do need to, make sure that your booth is, whichever method you use, that your booth has enough popcorn to sell. About $500 per hour. A square reader, if you have it, the table and a banner with a small cash box. And then always place the products highest to lowest or lowest to highest, but in price order. It makes it easier on the scouts because everybody will always ask them. So it's easier if they can start low and go high or start high and go low. And then don't put the prices on the table. We always have one of the sales flyers that has everything out there. So I usually will laminate a handful for my storefronts so that they're there and they're protected from the weather and from kids bending them and everything throughout, and they last the whole season. But I do have those for the scouts so that they can hold them and have it as like a cheat sheet, at the table. And then the scouts should always be in uniform. If they don't have a Class A, they can be in a Class B t-shirt. But the more presentable that they can be in a uniform, it just helps sell a little bit more. And then having them run through this with their parents so that they can make sure that they have those prices memorized. Remind them to make good eye contact and smile and talk to everybody. And then also make sure that your scouts are standing in front of the table. People are more likely to come to the table if your scouts are somewhere between the table and people exiting a store. And then the parents should be then behind behind the table, helping, in any way that your scout needs, if, that means filling the table, if, it's busy and things like that. And parents can be entering the orders into the app so that then the scout can go back and pull somebody else in. And then, make sure to, through your scout, you can remind your scout to say thank you. And it is helpful to hear it says stand and thank every person. I feel like as a parent, it is helpful if the parents are standing and not sitting in a chair behind the table, staring at their phone. The more engaged you are, it encourages your scouts, but it also has an effect on the people coming out the door as well. The last thing on there is submitting all your donations in the app. So there is a place in the app where you can submit any denomination. You don't just have to have the $25 or $50 heroes and helpers donation. You can take and donate, you can put in a dollar donation so that literally everything that comes in that goes into your cash box can be entered through the app. I feel like we've talked about most of these things with the credit card, the pay now button. There is a new leader pay now. So before, that option was not available to leaders, and we would have to then write a check to council. This is a new feature. We are able to, instead of having to deposit the cash and then write a check, you are able to just deposit the cash. And then if you have a debit or credit card with your account, you can use it that way and not have to worry about writing a check. And then, yeah, everything we've talked about here, Trails End pays all the fees. So this is the product lineup for the storefronts. So we do have, again, this year, the kettle corn and the popping corn, both at $15, and then the white cheddar and the unbelievable at $20. And then the salted caramel and the s'mores, which was new last year, both at $25. So the product lineup as far as last year to this year is the same, with the exception of the mini sea salted bags that are no longer here. There is a whole slew of other features of products online. So they've got the jerky, the pretzels, there's trail mix and peanuts and salted caramels. And then they always have the snowflake pretzels and the peppermint bark as we get closer to the holiday season. So all of those will be available online. And then typically chocolate products will ship come October. Middle of October, they typically start shipping. Kind of just depends upon the weather. And then Trails End will update as that happens. I believe, and Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe I read somewhere that Trails End is going to ship the trail mix. Even though it has some chocolate, the trail mix will be shipped out like normal with any other regular product and won't be held back.
That is correct. That is shipping with the trail mix because it's got chocolate in it. It is shipping like normal product, not shipping like chocolate product. So if someone orders that in August or September, it's going to ship out immediately. It doesn't have to wait until the October timeframe.
Online best practices. We've talked a little bit about some of this sharing. you do have the ability to customize your page, so you can put your scout's picture out there. You can have them write a little blurb about why they're selling popcorn and what they want to do, or maybe what they've done in the past, thanks to everybody that's supported them. And then, you know, it is easy. You don't have to handle any cash or product. Everything does get shipped directly by Trails End. So that is one less thing that you as a leader have to take care of or manage, as well as from a parent side of things. You can sell online throughout the year. So that is something that, while they don't get any additional increases in their Amazon gift cards after December, they do start, you know, they can sell in January and they can start working towards, you know, their goals and earn that, earn those sales throughout the year. So Heroes and Helpers donations new this year is they're going to be automatically processed nightly and then reflected on the unit orders. So what this does is, in the past, we've had to, when we place our final order, make sure that we place that order for our Heroes and Helpers donations. And now that's going to happen automatically nightly, so that we don't have to manage that at the end of our sale. And then, you know, here it talks about that if somebody asks how much of that you end up getting back at the unit, it's kind of safe to say it's a three-way split. So the unit gets a third of it, the council gets a third of it, and then the other third goes to Trails End, and that goes 100% to the Heroes and Helpers as far as that goes.
And I think the only thing I would add here, Britta, is, you know, some packs and troops, when they're doing storefronts, they'll feel bad because the pricing of the product is high, right? We got a $15 minimum purchase. And so they'll put a little bucket or something on the table. So if somebody wants to give a donation, as opposed to spending $15, that they can make a donation. Well, that's fine, not suggested, but that's fine. But what's important is that the Packer troop doesn't just keep those donations off the books, if you will. Those donations get put into the app, or put into the storefront as a dollar amount value for Heroes and Helpers. So if you're sitting there at a storefront for 2 hours, and over the course of those 2 hours, $25 ends up in your bucket, you don't just put the $25 into your troop bank account. That $25 goes into the storefront as a $25 individual hero and helper sale, and it's accounted for the same as the product is. So just wanted to make sure you're clear on that.
Yep, and then the scout still gets credit, and they get points for that donation, just as well as if everybody who donated $1, adding up to that 25, had bought a $25 bag of popcorn. So they get the points as well for that.
All right, let's give Britta a virtual round of applause for her middle portion of the meeting today. I am going to bring us home. So we're going to wrap us up here. And when I say wrap us up, I mean, I'm on slide 33, and we still got to get to slide 47, but we're going to fly right through some of these things and get you guys out of here. But she's hopefully given you guys some tools and some resources, whether that's budgeting, whether that's your show and sell order, how to maximize storefronts. You know, hopefully she's given you some tips and tricks and best methods to help you with your sale. Let's talk about the council sale dates. So you're at the training session now, right? Tonight is our training session. We have show and sell orders are due on 8/1. Okay, so just a little over a month that your show and sell order is due. Somewhere in that 8:15 to 8:17 window is when you will get your storefront, your show and sell orders. Now remember, that order that you're placing, that is for your wagon sales and for your storefront sales. So you want to make sure that when you're figuring out your budget and you figure out, okay, I got 10 kids, I want to raise $10,000 in our popcorn sale. So I need to sell $30,000 worth of popcorn to make $10,000. Now, how much popcorn do I need to order in order to get us to that point, right? So you got to figure out some math there. But that show and sell product is coming to you up front. You still have the ability at the end of the sale to place a final order for those orders that you didn't have product for at the end of the sale. Okay, so you still have a second ordering option at the end. Okay, you'll see there on the screen 8/31 is Scout Day at Purdue football. That's going to be a mid-sale recognition this year as opposed to an end of the sale recognition. And that's basically just because Purdue said this is when your Scout Day is going to be. We got the first game of the season, not the last, the second to last game of the season. So those scouts that sell popcorn, the first 2 weeks of the sale are going to be considered for that mid-sale recognition. And I'll get more into that here in a moment. The sale ends on 10/20. Your return deadline, when you can return product back to us, is 10/23. Your final order is due on 11/1, and then your take order distribution would be 11/14 to 16, somewhere in that ballpark. Okay. All right. Commission structure, same as it was a year ago. So a 32% base on your commission. Whether that's wagon sales or storefronts, not online. Online is commissioned at 35%. If you grow over last year's sale, you get a 2% kicker on top of that. And then for every $10,000 you sell, if you're one of those higher selling units, if you're over 10,000, it's a 1% kicker for every 10,000 that you guys sell. And then there's another kicker on top of that, that if you do make it into the top 20 units selling, that you're going to get a 1% kicker on top of that, as long as the council meets its goal of $590,000 in gross sales. Okay. All right. So let's talk about Scout rewards. Okay. Oh, too far. There we go. Okay. So for the last few years, we've been going to Malibu Jacks for a party for our top 100 scouts. They get to go over there and play for a couple of hours. We're still doing that for the top 100 scouts, and they'll also get a shoulder patch for their uniform as well. So we're still going to do that, but we're going to open it up to the second 100 scouts as well. The difference being, I'm paying the bill for the first 100. The second 100 get to come, but they have to pay for themselves to attend, but they get it at the same rate that we are paying for the event, which is significantly cheaper than what they would normally pay if they went to the event, or if they went to Malibu Jacks on their own, which is usually about $100 per person for unlimited games and attractions. You're going to get that for $25 per person. So the event will still be the same. We still have a bunch of kids there running around having a good time celebrating, but we'll have 200 kids invited instead of 100. Okay. The Purdue football game, we just talked about that a few moments ago. We'll get two free tickets and on-field recognition at Scout Day there. And that's going to be the top 3 Cub Scouts and the top 3 scouts or venturers with sales through August 25th, which is basically the first 2 weekends of sales. You'll notice that the sales run through August 25th, and that game was August 31st. So it's going to be a really quick turnaround by the time we close the books on the first 2 weekends of sales, to then send a message out to those scouts that says, hey, congratulations on your first 2 weeks. I got you 2 tickets to the Purdue game next weekend. Are you going to come? Okay. So that's that incentive there. Now, here's an incentive for your scouts to try to get them to that next level. Okay. We have an incentive in place called the Adventure On incentive, which if they hit $500 in gross sales, they're going to get to go to a free event in 2024 or 2025. And those events are noted there below. If we were to have done this last year in 2023, 339 scouts would have earned that. But we had 290 scouts that didn't sell $500 or more. And so our hope is that this encourages those 300 or so scouts that didn't get to 500. This gives them a little carrot to hopefully get to that next level. Okay. And then, as always, we have free camp incentives for Cub Scouts that sell 1,500. And then for scouts that sell 2,500, they get either free Scouts BSA summer camp at Camp Buffalo or National Youth Leadership Training. Okay, so a couple more incentives on our incentive plan there. Now, unit top sellers. Okay, so your pack or your troop. Okay, if you hit the $10,000 mark, okay, your top 2 sellers are going to get $25 gift cards. Okay. Anybody that grows their sale, I guess I jumped too far ahead here. So a unit that grows their sale over last year, okay, but sells less than $10,000, your top seller is going to get a $10 gift card. Okay, so as long as you grow your sale over last year, one of your scouts is going to get a bonus $10 gift card. If you sell 10,000, your top 2 sellers are going to get $25 gift cards. If you sell 15,000 as a unit, your top 2 sellers are going to get a $50 gift card, and so forth and so on. Okay, so a lot of different tiers to this incentive plan. Now, if you're a new unit selling popcorn this year that you haven't sold popcorn historically, there's a new unit bonus here as well, which basically means if you place a show and sell order, we're going to give you a case of white cheddar kettle and butter for free, which is $540 in free product, and 100% commission on those first 3 cases. Okay. Which basically means we're giving you $540 of free product, $540 of commission once you sell all of that, and hopefully that's an incentive to incentivize those new units to come on board and get a little bit of extra money in their unit account. All right, just so everyone knows from a popcorn perspective, from our sales perspective, we set aside about $28,700 a year to fund those incentives that we just talked about. And so this slide here just talks about where those dollars come from with each of those incentives that we have to pay for. So just kind of educating the masses on what does it really cost to send 200 people or 100 people to Malibu Jacks or to the football game or shoulder patches or whatever. So just being transparent there with the expenses. All right. As we did a year ago, our return policy is the same. 10% max returned allowed on your original show and sell order. Okay. So I'll pick on Jessica again just because she's on my screen. If she orders $10,000 worth of show and sell product at the beginning, I know she's shaking her head. No, she's like, I'm not doing that. But if she orders $10,000 worth of show and sell product at the beginning of the sale, the max that she can return back to the council is $1,000. Okay, so there is a little bit of risk to the units, but what this does, it puts a little bit of risk on the units, but it allows the council to not assume 100% of the risk. In the 2022 popcorn sale, we had $75,000 worth of product returned back to the council unsold by units that checked that product out. Okay. And so $75,000 worth of product, if you're just figuring a third to the unit, a third to the council, and a third to Trails End, we ate $25,000 worth of product that year. Okay. So we implemented this 10% max return policy last year and had no issues with, no major issues, I should say, with units having more product than what they could get rid of. We did have a handful that they ended up with a little bit of a surplus over and above what they could return. but nothing that would have hindered their sale and caused them too much grief. So, all right, the sale does end on 10/20, as mentioned earlier on the date slide, and returns are due by 10/23. Here's our goal, as previously mentioned, $590,000 is our total goal. 540 in our traditional sales, so that's wagons and storefronts, and then our online sale at $50,000. We do have transfer forms available again. These booklets are $6 a piece. They come with 24 pages. They're basically paper trail options for you to track the product that's leaving your garage and going out to your scouts, so that when you get back to your leader portal and you're making all those transactions in the leader portal, you've got paper trail to help you do that. They're optional. You don't need to purchase them if you don't want, but if you do, those orders are due by July 15th, and you just need to email Emily Wheeler at the Scout office to be able to do that. Okay. We have storefront banners for sale as well. They look just like that photo there on your screen. They're $25 a piece, and you can order those through Emily also, and those will be picked up with your show and sell order in August. Now, not to confuse you, but we also have these storefront banners as well. These are free as opposed to the previous one, which was $25. But the previous one has a bunch of scouts on it, and it says support scouting and gives them a link to go to beascout.org if they want to join scouting and they can support the adventure, right? This one, a little more bland, help fund my adventure, 70% stays local. Here's how you can pay. Not really sexy, not a lot of scout photos or anything, but it's a free banner, and we do have a bunch of these available. What we will end up doing over the course of the next couple of weeks is basically sending out a survey that says, if you want the free banners, how many could you use as a minimum? How many could you use as a maximum? And we'll do our best to meet you somewhere in between. If you want to purchase one or more of the $25 ones, you'll have that option to do that as well. Same thing with card readers. So we have 100 card readers available to give out to units this year. 20 Bluetooth, 40 Lightning, and 40 headphone jack oriented Bluetooth reader, or not Bluetooth readers, square readers. And so in that same survey about the banners, we'll figure out what kind of readers everybody needs, and hopefully we can meet you somewhere between what you don't have, what you want, and what we can give you. Okay. All right. This is a copy of the sales form. Since you guys are on a Zoom call tonight, I can't give you your sales forms. Okay. We have sales forms with me in the greater Lafayette area. I can get you some over here if you need them. And we also have some at the office over in Kokomo if you need to get over to the office and pick up some of your sales forms for your season. We'll also have some available when you do your show and sell pickup in August. We'll have some sales forms there as well. You will note on here that microwave butter is $20, not $25, as Trails End would recommend. Our popcorn team believes that this product sells better at $20 than it does at $25, and Trails End allows us to make that change. But what they will not do is change the form, because everybody gets the same form. Okay, so it's not in numerical order on the form, as the chocolate pretzels are at $30, and then it goes to $20, and then it goes back up to $25, and then back to $25. I can't change it, but I can change the product, the cost of the popcorn. So the form is the same as the popcorn system and the popcorn transfer forms that you can order. So we try to make them all match as much as we can, but I cannot change the forms. Okay, so we got a lot of options for support. Obviously, we have a 5-person team worth of colonels. Britta obviously is one of them, as mentioned. And then we've got Ashley Robertson from Rushville, Amanda Yeager from DeMott, Matt Weathers from Lafayette. Britta's obviously from Lafayette as well. And I feel like I'm missing somebody. Britta, Matt, and Sarah Caffrey from Lafayette also. So the 5 of them make up our popcorn team. So they're obviously your colleagues in the popcorn sale, if you will. But Trails End has a bunch of support opportunities out there. They got a Facebook group out there, and Emily and I out of our office are subject matter experts when it comes to all things popcorn. And that just about wraps us up. I do not see any questions in the chat at this point. So I am going to stop sharing my screen. Does anybody have any last minute questions before we get out of here for tonight? Going. All right, we are gone. Thank you guys so much for jumping on. I hope you took something away from this and it's going to be helpful for you. This PowerPoint presentation will be in the next version of the Kernel Journal that comes out sometime between now and the end of the week. That next version of the Kernel Journal will come out. And then the only other thing that you guys have to remember at this point is make sure that your storefront sales or your storefront show and sell, excuse me, couldn't think of the word. Your storefront orders are due by August 1st, and we'll work on the distribution plan within a couple of weeks of there. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and talk to you later. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Oh, yeah. Get down.